When you have eliminated all which is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. It is a great thing to start life with a small number of really good books which are your very own. There is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. It has long been an axiom of mine that the little things are infinitely the most important. You see, but you do not observe. The world is full of obvious things which nobody by any chance ever observes. It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Insensibly one begins to twist facts to suit theories, instead of theories to suit facts. Mediocrity knows nothing higher than itself, but talent instantly recognizes genius. You have a grand gift for silence, Watson. It makes you quite invaluable as a companion. Education never ends, Watson. It is a series of lessons, with the greatest for the last. I consider that a man's brain originally is like a little empty attic, and you have to stock it with such furniture as you choose. A fool takes in all the lumber of every sort that he comes across, so that the knowledge which might be useful to him gets crowded out, or at best is jumbled up with a lot of other things, so that he has a difficulty in laying his hands upon it. Now the skillful workman is very careful indeed as to what he takes into his brain attic. He will have nothing but the tools which may help him in doing his work, but of these he has a large assortment, and all in the most perfect order. It is a mistake to think that that little room has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. Depend upon it, there comes a time when for every addition of knowledge you forget something that you knew before. It is of the highest importance, therefore, not to have useless facts elbowing out the useful ones. The love of books is among the choicest gifts of the gods. Watson. Come at once if convenient. If inconvenient, come all the same. My name is Sherlock Holmes. It is my business to know what other people do not know. A dog reflects the family life. Whoever saw a frisky dog in a gloomy family, or a sad dog in a happy one? Snarling people have snarling dogs, dangerous people have dangerous ones. What you do in this world is a matter of no consequence. The question is, what can you make people believe you have done? My mind, he said, rebels at stagnation. Give me problems, give me work, give me the most abstruse cryptogram or the most intricate analysis, and I am in my own proper atmosphere. I can dispense then with artificial stimulants. But I abhor the dull routine of existence. I crave for mental exaltation. That is why I have chosen my own particular profession, or rather created it, for I am the only one in the world. Excellent! I cried. Elementary, said he. Life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man could invent. We would not dare to conceive the things which are really mere commonplaces of existence. If we could fly out of that window hand in hand, hover over this great city, gently remove the roofs, and peep in at the queer things which are going on, the strange coincidences, the plannings, the cross-purposes, the wonderful chains of events, working through generations, and leading to the most outre results, It would make all fiction with its conventionalities and foreseen conclusions most stale and unprofitable. It may be that you are not yourself luminous, but that you are a conductor of light. Some people without possessing genius have a remarkable power of stimulating it. I am a brain, Watson. The rest of me is a mere appendix. The game is afoot. To a great mind, nothing is little, remarked Holmes, sententiously. Women are naturally secretive, and they like to do their own secreting. I am an omnivorous reader with a strangely retentive memory for trifles. Life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man could invent. How often have I said to you that when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. There are always some lunatics about. It would be a dull world without them. Is there any point to which you would wish to draw my attention? To the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. The dog did nothing in the nighttime. That was the curious incident, remarked Sherlock Holmes. There is no scent so pleasant to my nostrils as the faint, subtle reek which comes from an ancient book. Do you remember what Darwin says about music? He claims that the power of producing and appreciating it existed among the human race long before the power of speech was arrived at. Perhaps that is why we are so subtly influenced by it. There are vague memories in our souls of those misty centuries when the world was in its childhood. That's a rather broad idea, I remarked. One's ideas must be as broad as nature if they are to interpret nature, he answered. Crime is common. Logic is rare. Therefore it is upon the logic rather than upon the crime that you should dwell. What one man can invent, another can discover. A man always finds it hard to realize that he may have finally lost a woman's love, however badly he may have treated her. You're not hurt, Watson. For God's sake, say that you are not hurt. It was worth a wound, it was worth many wounds, to know the depth of loyalty and love which lay behind that cold mask. The clear, hard eyes were dimmed for a moment, and the firm lips were shaking. For the one and only time I caught a glimpse of a great heart as well as of a great brain. All my years of humble but single-minded service culminated in that moment of revelation. What a lovely thing a rose is. He walked past the couch to the open window and held up the drooping stalk of a moss rose, looking down at the dainty blend of crimson and green. It was a new phase of his character to me, for I had never before seen him show any keen interest in natural objects. There is nothing in which deduction is so necessary as religion, said he, leaning with his back against the shutters. It can be built up as an exact science by the reasoner. Our highest assurance of the goodness of Providence seems to me to rest in the flowers. All other things, our powers, our desires, our food, are all really necessary for our existence in the first instance. But this rose is an extra. Its smell and its color are an embellishment of life, not a condition of it. It is only goodness which gives extras, and so I say again that we have much to hope from the flowers. I wanted to end the world, but I'll settle for ending yours. Evil indeed is the man who has not one woman to mourn him. Never trust to general impressions, my boy, but concentrate yourself upon details. My dear Watson, said Sherlock Holmes, I cannot agree with those who rank modesty among the virtues. To the logician all things should be seen exactly as they are, and to underestimate one's self is as much a departure from truth as to exaggerate one's own powers. From the first day I met her, she was the only woman to me. Every day of that voyage I loved her more, and many a time since have I kneeled down in the darkness of the night watch and kissed the deck of that ship because I knew her dear feet had trod it. She was never engaged to me. She treated me as fairly as ever a woman treated a man. I have no complaint to make. It was all love on my side, and all good comradeship and friendship on hers. When we parted she was a free woman, but I could never again be a free man. It's quite exciting, said Sherlock Holmes, with a yawn. Where there is no imagination, there is no horror. Work is the best antidote to sorrow, my dear Watson. How sweet the morning air is! See how that one little cloud floats like a pink feather from some gigantic flamingo. Now the red rim of the sun pushes itself over the London cloud bank. It shines on a good many folk, but on none, I dare bet, who are on a stranger errand than you and I. How small we feel with our petty ambitions and strivings in the presence of the great elemental forces of nature. The unexpected has happened so continually in my life that it has ceased to deserve the name. As a rule, the more bizarre a thing is the less mysterious it proves to be. It is your commonplace, featureless crimes which are really puzzling, just as a commonplace face is the most difficult to identify. I am somewhat exhausted. I wonder how a battery feels when it pours electricity into a non-conductor? No man burdens his mind with small matters unless he has some very good reason for doing so. I am the most incurably lazy devil that ever stood in shoe leather. There is nothing more to be said or to be done tonight, so hand me over my violin and let us try to forget for half an hour the miserable weather and the still more miserable ways of our fellow men. I followed you. I saw no one. That is what you may expect to see when I follow you. My life is spent in one long effort to escape from the commonplaces of existence. These little problems help me to do so. What the deuce is it to me? He interrupted impatiently. You say that we go round the sun. If we went round the moon it would not make a penny worth of difference to me or to my work. No, I am not tired. I have a curious constitution. I never remember feeling tired by work, though idleness exhausts me completely. Now is the dramatic moment of fate, Watson, when you hear a step upon the stair which is walking into your life, and you know not whether for good or ill. Come, Watson, come, he cried. The game is afoot. To Sherlock Holmes she is always the woman. I have seldom heard him mention her under any other name. In his eyes she eclipses and predominates the whole of her sex. It was not that he felt any emotion akin to love for Irene Adler. All emotions, and that one particularly, were abhorrent to his cold, precise but admirably balanced mind. He was, I take it, the most perfect reasoning and observing machine that the world has seen. And yet there was but one woman to him, and that woman was the late Irene Adler, of dubious and questionable memory.